I'm telling you, this is all coming to a head. I think these tech companies have been behaving so unbelievably badly that I do genuinely believe it's going to take a turn. And I do think that they're going to suffer from it.
Let's put this bitch on blast.
I wanted to talk today about the Grok AI image generation controversy that's going on right now. And it's had several developments from, you probably heard about this over your Christmas break when you were scrolling because it was such a big deal. And I wanted to talk about it, not just because it's a hot topic, but there's a lot of little details in this timeline that are really interesting. So on Christmas Eve, X quietly released a new feature where you can just basically, let's say AOC posts a picture on Twitter, you can just comment and tag Grok and say, put her in a bikini, and it'll generate and post that image right onto X. Then at the end of December, so many people were using Grok on X and posting inappropriate photos that it kind of blew up because people were nudifying women. There's no evidence of nudifying children, but there's undressing of children and children in suggestive poses. And this is happening to celebrities, politicians, but also to people who are just being bullied by men who aren't even famous. And it was hard to get them down. Elon didn't say anything or do anything about it. And if you wanted to get it down, you had to plead and beg, and maybe someone would come around 3 days later, if you were lucky, and help you take it down. All the big social media companies used to have huge moderation teams, and after Trump, they got rid of them. So there's just not enough people to even if they wanted to moderate the situation. So then the countries started coming out of the woodwork. Of course, not the US, but France got pissed off and threatened investigation. India got pissed off. Malaysia issued notices. And then the UK spoke up, and the UK is really they put the hammer down on tech harder than anyone. And they called it disgraceful, and they threatened an investigation and even threatened to ban X, which is a big deal. So then U.S. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna and other politicians on the right kind of clap back and were like, we're going to put sanctions on the UK if you try to ban X.
Anna Paulina, what's her name? Let's put this bitch on blast. So I took a very quick look. I was like, who is this bitch? What kind of woman would want this? I can understand if it was a creepy, dirty old man, but no, it's one of these idiot MAGA women. If you just take a little look at her Wikipedia page, she is absolutely just on the wrong side of history with literally everything. She loves guns. She's like one of those super, super anti-abortion in absolutely every case women. She's literally just so embarrassing on every single level.
The thing that is really crazy in all of this is, so Apple and Android get to decide who has an app on their store and who gets to be in their marketplace. Mm-hmm. Not only do you get to be in our marketplace, but we're going to take a massive cut. But the reason that this is good is because we're going to make sure nobody's putting sketchy apps on our app store, or apps that might give you a virus, or apps that aren't good. We're going to make the app store a nice place. We're going to keep the market nice. Mm-hmm. And they have regulations that apps should not include content that is offensive, insensitive, upsetting, intended to discuss, in exceptionally poor taste. And these are Google's words, or just plain creepy. And they are known to get rid of apps that even infringe a little bit on this. And if you're familiar with the lawsuit that happened a few years ago that went dragged on forever between Apple and Epic Games has their own store that you can buy games from, and they sued Apple because of the market dominance and how they were charging them 30% just to have their app on an iPhone. And Apple's defense was the Epic Games Store sells sexy games, and they have suggestive games. And that's against our regulations. So we can't allow that.
Is it really against your regulations? Well.
Yeah. And the fact that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, and Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, have not taken down this app is a very clear sign. Because if this were just a few years ago, they would have. This is like Elon is in charge. He is in charge. And they're silent. They've been totally silent. They haven't commented. They haven't said anything. I'm telling you, this is all coming to a head. I think these tech companies have been behaving so unbelievably badly that I do genuinely believe it's going to take a turn. And I do think that they're going to suffer from it.
I want to start doing something on this podcast. I want to start like not full blown doxing people, but like naming and shaming. Like, I think people need to get more clued in about who is allowing shit like this to happen. So, as I'm editing these podcasts, I'm going to start putting people's fucking faces, their headshot, their link to their complaint page on their company, or their feedback page on their company, or their socials if they have socials. So Sundar Pichai and fucking Tim Cook, listen, most people know who Tim Cook is, but Sundar probably not as many. I'm going to put their pictures up. Bada bing, bada boom, and I'm gonna link to wherever we can reach out to them, so that if people want to take some action, they can hit them up and be like, "Yo, what's up with this, bro? You said you don't want nothing cheeky, you don't want anything creepy, and now you're allowing this. Like, what's up?"
I feel like I've thought about this, and that I eventually want like a red string wall of CEOs with darts in their faces and devil horns drawn to show how they're all connected.
We need people to start knowing who is behind all this and who's allowing it to happen. They're flying under the radar right now. No one is like coming for them, really. People do come for Elon. People think Elon's disgusting. He's like a poster boy for being disgusting. But these other guys are kind of like acting like they're respectable dudes, and they're fucking not. Do you know what I used to do when I was really bored? This is part of my mental illness, but I used to go on the sex offender website, and I would just browse sex offenders in my neighborhood.
I used to do that too, actually.
Yeah.
Because you can see.
You can see their photo. You can see their address. I lived above a pedophile, and I was like, well, good to know. I didn't do anything. It's not like I left notes on his door being like, you're a pedophile. But I was like, okay, good to know. Good to know who I maybe need to like keep a little distance from, And so I want to create like an offender registry for corporate billionaire overlords who are being shady as fuck.
I genuinely think that that's the difference between digital, or like what's stopping digital activism for being even more of a thing, is that we are targeting Trump and politicians, and we don't know the names of CEOs, and we don't know their faces. So
Yeah.
I do feel like they're the ones running our country right now.
Yeah,
So
the billionaires are running the country, and we're going to start naming them.